So we're going, are we going? Yeah, I'm going. All right, so you want to be on iConnect and you want to see this screen here with all of your things. Please bear with me here as we do this. Try not to jump 8 billion steps ahead. I want to make sure that we can see some things on this. Okay. All right, so is anyone not here yet? Good. All right, click on the virtual computer lab. And you're going to get two options. Now, because all of us are doing this once, this might go really, really slow. When I did this with my class the other day, this took about 5 minutes. And I think what happened was the routers had to open up some bandwidth. I think there was some dynamic. Oh, we're good here. Just be aware, when we're all doing this, sometimes this can slow down. Usually the pipeline opens back up. We will use the GPU option. So click on Launch. And this is persistent. Anything you do in here will stay in here. Now, you are logged in with your ID, and so this is like logging into the same machine over and over again. You have a U drive on here. You have things that are persistent within here. The GPU definitely has the more computational resources than the desktop. So all the fun software is in here: the SolidWorks, the Mathematica. But I think the Mathematica license expired. I have to look at that again. The Octave and our IDEs. All right, so we've got your icons might be in slightly different places because I've moved some things around on mine. But we want to go into the Eclipse IDE. It's blue, 3 lines. If you are wanting to run this on your home machine and you won't be using this machine here, strongly recommend going to eclipse.org and downloading their IDE. It is free. All right. This should ask you a question. Now, I'm going to, your U drive is not the best place to store things the way the network share is here. A lot of your software will not see the U drive raw. It'll see your user space in this. And so if you store things in the U drive, they're hard to find. I made that mistake with the first few things. So I'm going to suggest that you hit Browse. And then in anywhere in the white space here, I went to the desktop and I right clicked and I'm going to create a new folder. I recommend you call yours CIS 150 because I have two CIS 150 classes. I have a CIS 150E. I'm going to make the CIS 150F for you guys. And so once I have this selected, I'm going to say select folder. The nice thing is you only have to do this once, which is today. You have a checkbox, use this as the default and do not ask again. I would check that. Now you don't have to worry about it. Because I have to show people how to use this, I leave it unchecked. Everyone here. Anyone not here? You two not here?
Not yet. Still waiting for the cloud computer to start.
Oh, you're waiting for the cloud computer to start. You're there? Okay, right there. All right, you let me know when that starts up. Wow. All right. I'm sorry. I know that. If you, is it chunk? What? Is it chunk? That way you'll never have to do it again. I can't because I have to show people how to do it. Oh, good. You guys are starting to get so much progress. If everyone can hold for me, I'll get everyone to the same place. Once we get to the same place, then this will be yeah, and you can hit launch, and you're going to get a menu of things. So I will hit launch, and then I'll get these guys. So once you have this in here, hit launch, and you'll get all the groovy things that Eclipse can do.
Very groovy, very jazzy.
Well, this is my favorite C++ IDE with the right plugins and stuff for it. So you you want to Alright, hit browse, Jack. Up here. I'll give you folders.
He just says the default.
Sorry about that. Ooh, you good, you good. Yeah, oh, you got Jack right. Thank you. Everyone, we're in the same place-ish now? Now, I will iterate here. This is working off of the virtual machine here. You can run this on your own laptop if you want. If you have a laptop and you want to bring it here, that's fine. I'm not requiring you to use these machines. So, and generally on Thursdays, we're going to be programming together. This is more and more going to be an open lab as we get everyone into the same place, okay? So, granted, I might show you some very specific examples in this time period and we make sure we're doing the same thing, but this will definitely be, Thursdays will be very active, right? So, you are welcome to install Eclipse on your own machine. It runs on Mac, Windows, Linux. It's a fairly easy download. You will have a slightly different set of jobs because right now it's 2023. I think if you watched when this opened, it said 2020. That was the version they installed of it. It will make no major difference on anything that I'm showing you here. Okay? So, if you run it on a desktop at home, I would suggest maybe storing things on a USB. And we could bring USBs up here. I'm still fighting to get them to install it on the machines here, but they're really big about this virtual thing. That way they don't have to worry about, you know, which room I'm teaching in, I guess. So what we want to do is, this is great. This starts a lot of things for us. There's great things in here. If you want to see this at all times, you can click chat. You can always see this beautiful welcome screen. I find this a waste of time, so I just click workbench, and you'll always go into the workbench from there. And this is where I'm going to have to work on my sizing here, because this is going to be really hard to read on here, and I have a hard time adjusting the screen size here, so give me a second. But this is our ID, and this is where we'll be doing most of our work. Let's see. Display settings. Yep. I cannot scale my display. Yep, I cannot scale it in this virtual machine. So I'm going to point to things, and you guys are going to have to kind of hope we can get to the same place. Yeah.
Do you want to take a quick second to adjust it?
No, the scaling's coming from the virtual machine. I can't change the screen size that it's pushing to my web browser. So even if I zoom in on this, right, I'm going to lose the screen. I can't rescale the screen. But that's okay. Once I get into the text editor, I can make the text really big. It's just the menu things I'm going to have to explain to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Did you say create a new job?
Not yet, but that's what we're going to do. That's what we did last time. All right, so what we're first going to do here is we're going to create a Java project. And just let the first window come up, and I'm going to explain some things about that first window. All right, it will want a name for the project. I use capital C on it, and all Chapter 1 stuff I'm going to put in one project. So this is going to be Chapter 1. Again, look at the thing you have. I'm going to point to the thing on the screen because just of the text size here, I apologize for that. So Chapter 1 with capital C. You get to choose the version of Java you're using, use the default, but if you ever have to write for a different machine or something with an older Java, you can change that. What will happen is in the project folder, it will copy all of the Java libraries. Like if you were doing this outside of the IDE, you would have to tell your compiler where to find Java. But because we're doing it in the IDE, it pulls a link to all the libraries. Saves us a step. And then in here, where project layout, I'm going to use the project folder as root for source and class. If I use this other option, it creates a lot of subfolders. and the things we're doing right now, we don't need to do that. It won't really affect what you do, but when you go to upload your files, it can make it harder to find. And that's all I need, so I'm going to finish. And it's going to change the screen you're on. It's now gotten rid of those 3 links to do things, and you have a chapter 1, and if you hit the arrow here, you can see what it put in the project folder, which is the Java system library. All the libraries you need to program with, it linked to them. Again, if you were doing this outside of an IDE, this is something you'd have to do manually for each program you write, so we'll take this as being nice. And now this is the space you can use for any program you do in Chapter 1. You don't have to do this every time we do a program, just every time we do a new chapter. What I'm going to do here is now we need a package for this to... So if I right-click on Chapter 1 and go to New, and we're going to get a lot of options here, but we're going to do a new package. If I can click right today. Now it's going to do some automatic things for me. It's going to link it to the source of the project folder I'm in, and I'm going to call this lowercase chapter 1. Again, yes?
I'm getting a slash my source.
In the source folder.
Yeah, did you choose to have a source folder? Yeah, so when you did your setup, you chose to have a source folder. This is okay. You're okay. Yeah, remember the 2 switches I said I'm going to choose this other one because it creates extra folders down below? Against that one, against the folder. You're good. You should be able to see it, chapter 1.
Why can I not use dashes or spaces?
Because that's Java conventions. Deal. You have rules. You have to live within those rules. All right, we're not going to create a package info on these. The packaging system does work really well for managing a whole bunch of different files if we were making really large and complex programs to distribute. So this IDE is very powerful. Using the package info gives a file that talks about the package and what's included. But we don't need to do any of that this semester. Next semester, yes. So hit finish. And you get a chapter 1 package icon here. We are now ready to program. So I'm going to do a demo program here. We're just going to look at how this editor works. And I'm going to point to parts of the screen. Now, all of these workspace things are movable. This is kind of I like the default layout. What will happen is the files I'm working on are here. My code will end up here. And my output will end up here. And that's kind of the format I like. So we're building our way to it. So again, I'm going to go to chapter 1, and I'm going to right-click on it. And I'm going to go to New Class. Okay. And everyone seeing this now? Anyone not? Classes, remember, have the naming convention. They have to start with a capital letter. And these are going to be our programs. So I'm going to call the things in class, I think I'll probably just call them demos. So I'm going to capital D-E-M-O-1. Now, we will learn very shortly, in this semester, what a public is, what a package is, how we can make it private or protected. We will learn how to choose these options, but for right now, keep it public. But because we're going to run a program, we want public static void main checked. You want to check public static void main. Do not check generate comments. It creates way more comments than we need to work with. and finish. And now I'm going to increase my text size. Is that okay? Is that visible? In the back, can you see my words? Yay! I have 2 people now in 2 classes that use the thumbs up as yes. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you. I still always think it's a question, Bogey. You said, what's up? Oh, nice. It's in the settings there. All right, I'll do. So they got it out of Windows and they put it over there. So Brian told me that I can come up here and I can scale my screen here. So they moved it out of Windows. So let's see. Thank you, Brian. Oh, that's better. Is this? Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Brian. I really would have expected it to be in the Windows thing. I like that. Let me just rearrange some things here. Let me drop that down. Is that still readable at that level? Thank you, because you're the furthest back. All right. It has automatically referenced the package name, created the public class for the program, created the opening and closing braces for it in the style that I want, and it's created the main statement. So what I need to do is I need to start my comments. So /**. Now notice I started typing. I've got a red X here. This is always going to tell me if what I have on the screen can run or not. When you type, sometimes this will get in the way. So I'm going to say, for right now, this is an in-class demo of mathematical operations. Now when I hit enter, it finished the Java doc for me. So when you're asking about do I need those asterisks or other things, I get a lot of them. And you can put your own name here. Whatever you want, right? We have something that tell us what it's going to do. Right on your programs, you're going to have class, my name, what the program is and what the program does, right? It's in the style guide, and then in your name at the bottom. And you can see how that'll show me what it's doing each time. For right now, I'm being a little quick about this. All right, I'm going to come into the public class here. I'm going to do a Java doc here, and I'm going to say the main method prints mathematical operation and its solution to the screen. Let you know what I'm going to do. Again, comments don't code. They don't do anything, but we have an idea of what this thing did. And just trying to see good form. Also notice, I don't know how your screens are. You still have some scroll space to see. I'm starting to run out of visual space. So I'm going to pull down. Any questions on what's up here? Guys okay? Yeah. Alright, I'm going to re-navigate this. I'm going to be within my void block, the void main block. and that's where I'm going to enter my commands. Are we okay with that? Anyone need anything?
Can you just take over, Mr. Scott? Sorry.
No, don't. What's up?
It doesn't have to be exactly what I'm saying.
So,
That just automatically put in with your moving classes. It autofills a lot of things, and some of them we can delete or not. That's okay. Let's see what we messed up here. Yeah, that right there. That one there. See that? Oh, it's an extra one. Yeah, there we go. That's, yeah, you had an extra one there. Now we got that one. Let's see, which is public policy. This one. Oh, we lost. So leave automatically fulfilling one of them. It will autofill, yes. When you hit enter, it will autofill. And that's one of the things we'll see in the next thing we do. It tries to autofill some stuff, and I sometimes try to type what it autofills, and they can clash. I think that's what happened there. Is you started to type what's on the screen, and it also autofilled it. Does that make sense? Yeah. So and it's getting used to the autofill. Yeah, the autofill is a joy and a pain. Now we're only going to write 2 lines of code here, so we're not going to do too much coding here today, but we're going to try to see some examples. So I want to be in my void main, and I'm going to come here. Now I'm going to print to the screen some characters. So I want to use a print statement. The print statement is built into the output of Java's system commands. So if we think of like the bus and the computer and everything that happened, I'm taking something down the bus to an output device. And so the system has to go to the output to the print commands. Well, Java has that in a hierarchy. So I start with system. Now again, notice I started to type, and I get a red X because this isn't right, and it's underlining. Here's where it's going to get weird. I want to hit dot, and it's going to tell me all the different things it can be. This sometimes gets in the way I'm thinking. I know I want out, so I can click out here, but usually I'm typing system.out really quick. Just be aware. I had this happen to a couple people that were typing, and they accidentally hit their mouse pad, and it gave you a different command. You can turn off the auto suggestion. I actually find it useful sometimes. Like I might see an auxiliary command that's better than the command I was using, so I leave it on. But as George saw, sometimes you can type in the thing it's going to do for you anyway. So just be aware it does that. So I want to go to out, and then I hit dot again, and now I've got all the things in out. And then what happened to the person the other day was it hit append when what we wanted was print. I still have a red X because I still don't have code that'll run. Now I'm going to print a line. So I'm going to do print ln. And now I actually have the manual for print ln. It tells me everything I can do with it. I can give it a boolean, I can give it a character, I can give it a double. This is what I like about this. Sometimes if I'm using the wrong command, I'll catch it here. But I want to do my parentheses. Now it's going to finish the parentheses for me. So I type my first parentheses, and it has finished it for me. And I'm doing characters to the screen, so I'm going to do the double quotes, and it has finished it before me, for me, keeping my where I'm going to type in the middle. I still accidentally type wrong because it does that. So I'm just making you aware of it. It will mess with you 50% of the time. The other 50% of the time, it'll help you. So it's like, I don't want to turn it off because it's helping. Ah, damn, it's pissing me off today.
It's like someone's finishing what you're saying before you.
Yep. So I'm going to do a mathematical statement. I'm going to do 10, parenthesis, 10, space plus 3, space times 5.2, parenthesis, space, divide, space, 4.0. Oh, not 9. I still have a red X, and it's telling me my problem's here because we need to end all of our lines with a semicolon. What?
Oh, never mind. I see we did never mind.
You did it for me.
Yeah, I didn't have the parentheses inside for the 10 plus 3
Ah.
times, so I was wondering where they were.
So what do we think this is going to do?
Math.
It's going to print out what's there. Because I have the quotes here, it's treating this as what we're going to call a string. It's the characters.
So we're going to have to make this run. So the green circle play button looks like a play. I don't have CD players anymore. Looks like the play button on Spotify. You're the best thing. God, technology is changing so much.
I have a Walkman at home.
Well, we'll hit the play button on the Walkman. Because the play button will run. It will ask you which resources to save. You can do the checkbox, always save the resources before launching. That way you don't have to go file save all the time. I hit OK. And now I get my output down here, which is the problem with my screen being so much. We have a question?
Is the semicolon at the end?
Put a slash instead of a semicolon. So you just-
Yep. And then he puts the closing one. And then there's something small. System dot out.
Oh, do you put iron next to it?
Yeah, that's right. Big catch. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big catch. But it's like, it's possible we already have Oh, that should be a compass. So it's just curly work there. What you might want to do is if you control plus, you need the text a little bigger, and hit the arrow up there. Something to the screen. Now you got a whole screen with it all. That's what I've been having to do up there to get it visible.
All right, so what we want to do is we want to turn this into showing us the answer. So I'm going to repeat this whole thing, but I'm not going to have the quotes in it. So I'm going to come down a line, system dot out dot print line, and 10 space plus 3 space, times 5.2, quote, space, divide, 4.0.
Very industrious people might drag, copy, paste, and then delete the quotes. But I've got the exact same thing without the quotes.
No,
Yep.
you just hit enter.
So at the end of it, you don't have to use your mouse. Yeah, when in your editor, you're probably going to use your keyboard more than your mouse. So we'll enter and up down arrows more than the mouse. I have found mouse clicks in these things can get you in the wrong places a lot of times. It'll probably be easier. Okay.
So you're,
Say it.
no, I'm just speaking out loud.
That's fine. That's what I said. You can say it.
So your quotes make it say exactly what you put, but with no quotes, it gives you.
Right, but that's what we're going to look at, yeah. So if you have this and you're happy to run it, run it. And I have my first line, and then I have the answer. And that's the difference of how the computer is going to interpret things. And this is one of the things we're going to have to get aware of is interpretations. So in a print statement, things within the quotes are taken literally for the characters that are inside of them. And we're going to find ways to manipulate this so we can get things printing out on the screen. Like one of the things we'll do in the next chapter is you'll be able to print receipts as if like you go to the ale house and you get the receipt, everything lines up perfectly. That's hard. There's commands we can do to make sure everything lines up on the screen. That's actually a very useful thing to make sure that we can transfer data at the right chunks. But here, without the quotes, it processes these operations and numbers as if it was a calculator, as if it was computing. Yeah.
Like,
Pardon?
like computers.
Yes, yes.
So we can do computation and we can do display. Well, this screen that it looks like here is probably not how we talk, though. So if we look at the output that we're getting here, 10 plus 3 times 5, I kind of would like this to equal my output, wouldn't I? It would be nice to just see like an equal sign and this up here. So I'm going to do that with a small change. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to put a space for the equal sign. So I'm on my first line in the quotes. I'm going to go space, equal space. But this prints out a whole line. And I guess back in the old days, the first screens were actually printers. And a printer would print a line. And so you'd have a command for each character. You get to the end of the line, and the printer had to do two things. It was called a line feed. It would have to send the carriage back, so that was called a carriage return. You'll hear that there are characters for carriage return. And then it had to feed one more line. So in some early operating systems, that was 2 commands. Other printers built it into 1 command. So if you ever look at your text files between Unix and Windows, Windows has an extra character at the end of each line because of this. But what we're doing here with the print line is we're actually telling this thing when you're done, advance the line. So I don't want this one to advance the line. I want it to keep printing. So I'm going to use a different statement up here. I'm just going to tell it to print. And if I run this, I've got everything on one line.
Why is that?
These are different commands. This command does not tell it to advance a line when it's done. It just doesn't. That is To advance to the next line, the computer needs a command. This one doesn't do it when it's done. This one, when it has finished what's inside of it, it then adds the advanced line on it. And that's what I actually want you to play with now. I want you to try some different math things here. I actually want you to try doing 4 or 5 print statements in a row. Just play with it. See what you can get the screen to print. See what math you can do. All right, we've got 5 minutes. Just play with it.
How do
See
I
if you
do
can bring it.
exponents?
Don't. Java doesn't have built-in exponents. You have to repeat your multiplications.
So I have to, like, is it on a loop or?
No, look, you repeat your multiplications.
So I just put 4 times 4 times 4.
Yes.
4. I don't think that.
Yes. We will find ways around that, but right now Java does not have a built-in exponent. Python has a built-in exponent, but Java does not. Java has a command in the math library called power, and we'll use powers, and that's slightly better.
My hopes have been dashed.
No, they haven't. That's odd. You have a programming assignment that asks you to do a to the 4th.
Nice.
Question?
Does Java have an X function?
A what?
X looks like E to the whatever.
Not built in, but within its math library. In ESP. Yeah, so if you want something squared, you have to multiply it by yourself, for the base or the library. When we get to math functions, in chapter 3 or chapter 4, remember to store all those things. But right now, it's okay doing, I need to do something to the 4th, okay, I'll multiply it. Is that fair? You look disappointed.
Just a little.
We've got them and we'll use them, but not right now. Yeah. So yes, there is a math library, but we're not. That's a whole other library of stuff to learn. So right now we'll learn these libraries. Is that a better way of answering? Questions, comments, queries. Play. Try to break things. Try to make it do weird stuff. And I hope you can see the difference between the 2 print commands. There are some times where you want to just print character by character or chunks by chunks. There's other times when you want to print line by line. I find when I'm storing data in particular formats, there's a thing called a record, which is a way of storing different information, so it always takes up the same characters, that I use loads of print statements to get them to work right, and loads of print lines to space them. So knowing the subtle difference between the 2 of these is worthwhile. I didn't do it. What's that?
If you automatically save in progress, though.
When you hit run.
Okay.
If you do not hit run, you have to go to file and save
Yeah.
before you do it. If you go to exit, it will go, hey, you didn't save this.
Alright.
That's why we check that little box that says make sure you always
Yeah.
save before you hit run.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I started to hit that once. I said, why is it not updating all these changes? Why is it done? And you good?
Alright.
Trying to think of what other weird stuff I can show you about print. We'll do some memory mapping. Whoops.
I already made my print hello world.
You poor thing, I'm sorry. It's like that, I don't know, like back in like 94, 95, I was like, oh yeah, I can do Hello World and see and whatnot. And after a while, I got tired of like every Hello World.
It's so common.
Well, yeah, well, and
First thing you learn.
And notice I didn't do the Welcome to Java one that the textbook does, which is the similar, or a Hello World. I don't know, I must be old and crusty, but printing to the screen doesn't thrill me as much as it used to. The mathy stuff always makes me, because it's a computer, it's supposed to compute. And math with letters is great, and I don't mean algebra, I mean like dictionaries and Google Word rankings and interpreting what a text means by word count. There's like some really beautiful math with text now.
Does double make a variable?
I don't know. Are you reading chapter 2 yet?
No.
Read chapter 2.
I'm trying to do an integral. Or just we'll get there.
Well, I don't mind you reading ahead. I don't mind you reading ahead. Double declares a type of variable, and we'll get declaration statements. But right now, I want people happy and comfortable with the IDE. Like being able to chunk out the first 4 programs with just print statements
means that you're going to be comfortable with all the other weird stuff. And actually, for the people that have programmed before, just being able to do this and pass the style guide is a good. Oh, let's not word 8 million commands. Can we just make it work with good style and there? And then we know once the extra commands get there, we'll be comfortable. All right, that is all I have. You are free to go when you need to go. If you need anything from me, email. Everything is up on Blackboard for the first assignments. They're due the 29th. I am done talking about Chapter 1. There's one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start memory mapping, but I'm going to do that in Chapter 2. What's up? Yes! Okay, so...
It does say on the.
If you check the checkbox, it will say automatically. If you've got any changes, you have to line note, we will ask you before exit.
Yeah, I was just asking a question. I already read this.
Dude, all like, I'm one day. The next day, he's like, oh, I don't know how. How do you talk how do you afford that much gas? No, he does have to work. I guess.
The sum of all the natural numbers.
Negative 112.
Negative 112. So,
There you go.
it's not.
So that's so the computer doesn't need.
Yeah, I don't know what.
You do. Computer does.
Professor Thompson,
What?
why is this negative?
Wow, I don't know how I'm getting the negative. Multiplied.
You want to scroll past the sign bit for a small. We did them all integers because there were no decimals in them. So that's you scroll past whatever the maximum number of I think 32 bits. Remember when I showed you a horizon thing? You did a similar thing. Woohoo! You broke it.
We love breaking things. I just wanted to show you this.
Yeah, I love this class.
Yeah, me too. I'm just starting doing that MR side.
Oh, into JavaScript?
Yeah, I have really.
My knowledge has been, I'm sure there's a way to do it far. The print statement is same, pretty much the same. With the parentheses. But it's a lot more simple. You don't have to do the systems out.
That's true.
I found you just take the print.
I've never worked with Python. I just installed it on the laptop.
But it's not the best. Especially if you're getting into more complex things. No,
I don't recommend this.
No, it's not.
I've heard it's like.
well, I mean, it depends on what law you're using, if you're using what with, I know a friend made maybe Python one. Oh, which one was?
You good? You good? You good?
No. One with the GUI. That's what my teacher used to call it.
So
Is there a reason why that's?
Well, it was because they had an interactive screen. You could press buttons.
This isn't a Chromebook, is it?
Oh, what happened?
Yeah, it was.
Oh.
And it wasn't just
Chromebooks don't like it, but
black text.
Yeah.
That was the output.
I just put. Oh, that's.
Have a good one.
Take care. Question? Doesn't know where you're at.
Right back there.
this is So you got to see us all the stuff. We didn't big numbers. nice you found it out. Right, catch them now so you know where they are when they come in. Oh, good. Yeah, that's a sign for communication. And the population of the Earth one that you do will only be able to be read in scientific notation. So, it works on this. Or I think the population of the U.S. I don't remember what it was for the U.S. I think it's the U.S. I think that's so we'll learn our different number systems as we go forward.
Alright, so, download. You don't. Don't. You don't. You're doing good. Well, cookies. And then there's get the Eclipse IDE, just download. And yeah, this will take a bit. That's good. And you run the installer that comes with it. And you'll have this in your machine. Yeah. That has a download. Take it to download up here. It's going to take it to that. It's going to take it's big.
I want everybody here to just, take it with me and do it.
Well, you can access the webpage from the school through Blackboard Anywhere. It's all up to you. Whatever feels the best. I like running it on my laptop. You'll see sometimes when I will have my